world, and welcome to Breaking the Boxes for Week 4 of the NFL season. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, as always, please rate and review on your podcatcher of choice. Collective 2-2 on the week, pending the Giants on Monday Night Football as a pick'em. Would love to get a cover and land a body blow in Circa Sports Million. But let's get straight into it, and we'll start on Sunday Night Football with my beloved Jets. Jets, who fall 23-20 against Mo's Kansas City Chiefs. Jets do get the cover, closing as plus 8.5 home dogs, and the over comes in on 41 points. My handwriting is going to get better, I promise. The big play of this game is the Jets' only turnover, a fumbled snap by Zach Wilson in the fourth quarter. And the Jets never see the ball again. Chiefs keep the ball and the game. Of course, there's the controversial defensive holding penalty, but the Jets did get some luck of their own on the safety earlier in the game. And Mahomes just playing a very unclean game with 2 interceptions. One late in the second quarter, which amounted to, I believe, the missed field goal, or it was after the missed field goal. The Jets didn't get a chance to score before the half. And then the other one was later in the game with C.J. Mosley intercepting it. And the Jets, I think that was prior to the fumbled snap in the game. In terms of yards per play, I mean, Jets pretty much play the Chiefs to a draw here, 0.2 in favor of KC. A lot of that was a little bit of KC icing the clock at the end, but that was just one drive, to be honest. Chiefs have the advantage in high leverage, 7 of 12 to 5 of 12. Really, this game comes down to the Jets playing bend but don't break defense. 0 of 4 in the red zone for the Chiefs. The Jets score 2 of their 3 opportunities, and this is the Jets' style of defense. They're going to play a lot of cover 3 zone. They're going to sit back. They're going to let you eat a little bit between the 20s, but when it comes to nut cutting time, they're going to strengthen and stop guys from getting in the end zone. But you have to, if you're the Jets, prevent the other team from scoring explosive touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco, 48-yard touchdown. Noah Gray, 34-yard touchdown. If the Jets don't sleepwalk through the first quarter, they might actually win this game with Zach Wilson playing halfway decent. But alas, Mahomes gets it done in MetLife. For the Jets, they travel on the road next week to play the Denver Broncos in a bit of a revenge spot for Hackett. Are they going to keep showing signs of life? As a biased fan, I think this was a bit of a moral victory, especially going down 17-0 initially to rally back and play tough. Next week is a big one, though. It could completely crater if they lose and go to 1-4. Let's just keep their eyes on them. Chiefs, a little classic sleepy Chiefs here. Didn't look great, but they get the job done. This is what they do. They're going to struggle to cover some of these big numbers. Then other weeks, they're going to come out and blow people's doors off. So they're a hard team to cap, honestly, for being such a great team. But when it comes to January, this is just still a team that I'm always going to favor because they are so explosive with Mahomes at quarterback, his ability to run and break pocket, and then the defense continues to be stout despite giving up a few solid possessions to Zach Wilson. We usually bury some of the blowouts here on Breaking the Boxes because there's not a lot to glean. I should switch this because it was Bills 48 and Dolphins 20. This goes over the total of 52. Bills get the cover. This did close at -3 in favor of Buffalo. 2 turnovers to 0. That's a big story of the game. And you don't really see it here in this 0.6 advantage for the Bills in terms of yards per play. But the Dolphins got their ass kicked here. 11.5 yards per pass attempt by the Bills. We've got 0.8 EPA per drop back for Josh Allen. The Dolphins could not guard the door. Explosives all over the place. You've got the one right at the top here, the Diggs 55-yard touchdown. And then here are the 2 turnovers, a Tua pick, and then a Raheem Mostert fumble. ever since going into MetLife and kind of blowing it against the Jets, Josh Allen has been tremendous for 3 weeks in a row. The double tight end sets are bringing some balance to this offense. Stephon Diggs is elite as always, and the Dolphins eat a little bit of humble pie in Orchard Park. But I don't think this changes my mind about either of these teams. Fangio defense, it's going to continue to take time. They still need to get their best cornerback in rotation in Jalen Ramsey. Again, he's not slated to come back until December. And the Dolphins lose their center before the game and left tackle Teron Armstead during the game. Armstead was on crutches, so that's certainly something to monitor. So it's going to be tough to play this division game down to offensive linemen, but it is pro football. Injuries are going to happen. I'm not going to let this affect me in my Dolphins cap with regards to their offense going forward, but I think I do have to give some respect to the Bills. We talked about it on the show. They beat 2 tomato cans. Great. Do it against a good team. They did it against a great team. Bills kind of re-cement themselves as one of the Super Bowl favorites in the NFL. Dolphins, let's see if they can bounce back. I think they can. Offense matters. Passing offense matters. But you can't be a complete sieve on defense. You got to get some stops. Eagles win in overtime, 34. Maybe if I do bigger numbers, to 31. The Commanders do get the cover. However, this closed 8.5. It pretty much stayed there all week. The over comes in on 43. Man, that's terrible. Handwriting, clean game. No turnovers for either team. Dolphins. Eagles do dominate in terms of net yards per play, 1.3. However, it's third downs, which kill the Eagles, 4 of 12, where the Commanders high leverage, 8 of 17 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down. And it's not like the Commanders are able to do the tush push with regards to having that strong of an offensive line or Jalen Hurts. You see the Eagles do get 2 conversions over here. For Washington, it's tough plays that they have to make. And Sam Howell was pretty good in this game. 0.27 EPA per dropback. Played Jalen Hurts to a draw. 0.28 for Hurts. The biggest play of the game, that fourth down touchdown with 2 seconds remaining, but Riverboat Ron doesn't decide to go for it in a spot where you are, whatever, +8, +9. I think I saw as high as 10 in this game. On the road, divisional opponent, 1 play to win the game. Why would you try to extend the game and put it into overtime? That's what Washington does, and the Eagles are able to kick the game-winning field goal. You've got 2 explosive plays here from A.J. Brown, who is really carrying Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense so far. He's just an absolute game wrecker out there. But Hurts, I don't know, just continues to not look that impressive. These high leverage third downs are kind of predictive. If they get to third and not manageable, do we really trust Jalen Hurts to convert? Commanders defense played okay today. And this Eagles team is just completely different when they're not in super positive script. So that's something we need to look out for. If the Eagles are going to play a competitive game and are projected to lay a bunch of points, we need to be looking at some of these dogs. And if they're going to play against a weaker opponent, like they did against Tampa Bay last week, and they can just crush them, that's when I think we can be more comfortable laying some points with Philadelphia. For the Commanders, the range of outcomes team, it's going to be extremely wide. When Howell gets an entire 60 minutes in, or I guess 60 minutes plus here with this going to overtime, and doesn't turn the ball over, they can cover against any team in the league, including the Eagles on the road. When Howell turns the ball over, they can lose and fail to cover against probably any team in the league as well. So it's just going to be a Sam Howell roller coaster, and hopefully you're fortunate enough to have an enjoyable ride. I told you guys the Houston Texans should have been favored in this game. Texans 30, Steelers 6. A win and a cover as home dogs. This steamed to 3. People were laying influential amounts of money on the Steelers to cover this game as road favorites. The under comes in 41. Yeah, just Just an ass kicking for Houston, both sides of the ball. CJ Stroud is tremendous, 0.46 EPA per play, 2.5 net yard per play advantage. The only turnover of the game is a Kenny Pickett interception intended to Calvin Austin. It was the exact same kind of cover two split deep post that they ran against the Raiders, which resulted in a touchdown. This one was intercepted by Steven Nelson. Watch some tape, kiddo. Good job. Neither team was able to convert their only fourth down attempt. 6 of 14 for the Steelers on third down, 6 of 12 for the Texans, so they were a hair more efficient. Steelers, 2 trips to the red zone, 0 touchdowns in those instances. Houston, 2 of 3. If the Steelers didn't get right on offense against the Raiders, that was alarming. When were they going to get right? Of course, we have the Pickett injury in this game. Trubisky comes in and looks as pitiful as Pickett back there. Minus 0.34 EPA per dropback as a team. Steelers are the good defense, bad offense team. And the good defense, bad offense team, in spots like this, sometimes they just get smacked because they can't score points, and good offense beats good defense in modern pro football. And right now, the way CJ Stroud is operating, the way Nico Collins is getting downfield, the Texans can have a good offense. The kid's been awesome. Love to see it. Texans in an interesting spot this week as they travel to Atlanta to play the Falcons, returning home from their London trip. I got a feeling the market is going to be very interested in the Texans coming off of this slobber-knocking victory against the Steelers. Broncos, Bears. This game was outrageous. The Broncos do win 31-28. The Bears do get the cover in circa because they were getting the hook 3.5. It was a very sweaty one for the collective. It was a push in some markets as this closed 3. This does go over the total of 47. Man, oh man, Justin Fields, 2 turnovers. I mean, one of them is not his fault, right? It was, I don't know what the other one was, but of course everyone, the fumble. This, I just can't have it. Can't have it. Negative 0.97 EPA. Winning percentage goes from 89% to a total coin flip. I can't wrap my head around what happened on that play. Just fall down, do the Brady, duck, hold the ball, anything but a defensive touchdown. Of course, the Broncos do get a defensive touchdown. Basically a draw in terms of yards per play. Small advantage to the Bears here, 0.2. High leverage. Both teams similarly struggle, 6 of 11, 6 of 12. The Bears get frisky on fourth down, but are only able to convert one of them. One of the failed fourth downs is the second biggest play of the game in the fourth quarter. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left. Got to have it. They don't get it. Russell Wilson makes some plays in this game. Continues to be an EPA monster. 0.48 EPA per dropback. He's 5th in the NFL in EPA per dropback. But the Broncos find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. Case in point will be the fumble a few weeks ago against Washington. And this defense, if they're making Justin Fields get to 0.25 EPA per play, if they're giving up 300 yards passing, team yards passing to Justin Fields, 471 total offensive yards to a Justin Fields offense, that's not going to be good enough. You're going to need to be scoring 30 a game like they have here. And they've shown thus far that 30 is not a number that they are able to get to consistently, even in modern pro football. So an all-around circus of a game. The Bears just inventing new ways to lose. Peyton finally getting on the board with a dub here, gets his shirt sleeves cut off mid-game, maybe gets a juju change. But yeah, now this Broncos-Jets game this week, 2 1-3 teams scrapping it out mile high. That one should be fun. The Bears, I mean, honestly, they should be looking to trade Justin Fields, I think, right? Somebody's going to be able to give you something for Justin Fields. And right now they're trending to have the top 2 picks in the draft. I don't think Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback of the future. Try to get something for him. Atlanta Falcons, you should get on the horn. We'll get to you in a bit. Maybe the Cincinnati Bengals should get on the horn because Joe Burrow is not ready to play pro football. 27-3 in favor of the Titans. The Titans win as home dogs, just like the Texans. Look at all this green. Look at all this purple. 6.5 to 4.1. This is an ass kicking, people. They were destroyed by Tennessee. 1 turnover for each. The Burrow sack fumble was the biggest play of the game. I mean, just utter and complete domination for the Tennessee Titans in this game. 23 first downs to 14. 2 of 9 on third down. Didn't convert their only fourth down attempt. The Bengals stink right now. I understand Joe Burrow is hurt. Don't play then. Don't play. It's pro football. Don't go on the field if your performance is going to be this. You shouldn't be playing. Something Browning can't be worse than these consistent 4 yards per play outcomes. There's nothing more to say. The Titans are, Donnie said it in his analysis, and the reason why he picked this game, they're hard-nosed. They're going to go out, run the ball, not make mistakes. And that's what they did today. They didn't do anything spectacular, I don't think. They won the trenches. They stayed within themselves. Tannehill didn't commit any egregious turnovers. And they kicked the crap out of a team that's just playing a hurt quarterback. They're very much missing their safeties, I think. That's coming to fruition. The Bengals are trying to bet in these 2 new safeties, and it's not working thus far. And the season is spiraling in Cincinnati. I don't know where they go from here. Market continues to love them. I guess they're favorites on the road against the Cardinals this week, a Cardinals team that continues to be frisky. Very fascinating to see how that game turns out. Speaking of those Atlanta Falcons, a complete no-show in London, as I don't think I wrote this game down. Is next one Bucs Saints? I didn't put a score on this game. I think, there we go, 23-7 in favor of the Jags. The Jags get the win and the cover. This one goes under 42.5. And this is just Desmond Ridder being the worst starting quarterback in pro football. Him and Zach Wilson would have a good fight to the death here. Ridder pick 6. Ridder sack fumble. Game's over. It's done. Negative 9.8 EPA on the pick 6. It's over. Minus 0.53 EPA per dropback. It's over. It's not a football game anymore when these things happen. Doesn't matter that you're 50% on third down. Nothing else matters. When you've got these 3 plays, you're going to get your ass kicked. Doesn't matter that you were better in net yards per play. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that you were the only team to score in the red zone and the Jags were 0 for 1. Doesn't matter. When you turn over the ball and it leads directly to a score in this instance, there's nothing to glean. The Falcons cannot compete in games where they will need to be competent throwing the football. I can say that outright, I believe. And the people that steam them to 9 wins in the total market, their entire analysis was they have an easy schedule. Well, the only way they're going to meet that in these upcoming months is if that easy schedule remains easy and their opponents are well below average throwing the ball. Because despite having a good defense, despite having a good running game, in games where you need to throw the ball, the Falcons are bottom 5 in the NFL. Jaguars, some bright spots, 0.29 EPA per dropback for Trevor Lawrence. They have a massive travel advantage this week, staying in London as the Bills travel from Orchard Park to foggy old London town to play next week. I don't know, though. This was kind of sleepy just because the Falcons played so poorly. But that travel advantage, no Trey White for the Bills. Jags are an interesting look this week, for sure. Bucs Saints. Bucs 26, Saints 9. The Bucs win as road underdogs. This goes under the 41 because Derek Carr was either not ready to play quarterback, pulling his best Joe Burrow impersonation, or, well, I guess he's always been a coward. We know this of Carr. 0 of 2 in the red zone, predictive with Carr. This unbelievable 3 yards per pass. Predictive with Carr. The guy's a coward. Alvin Kamara had 13 catches for 30 yards in this game. That's just coward ball. Negative 0.3 EPA per dropback. What's going on here? I mean, Jameis obviously wasn't great. He comes in and throws a pick. One of 3 turnovers for the Saints. The other was where was it? Carr was a fumble, yep. And then we've got fullbacks fumbling. I mean, for bleep's sake. Fullbacks fumbling in the shadow of their own goalpost, right? New Orleans 6. For the love of God. What are we doing? Somebody with an offensive brain cell has to be in charge here because the Saints are good in the trenches. The Saints have good weapons. The Saints have a good defense. What's going on here? It's got to be Jameis week. There's got to be changes. The Saints were absolutely pitiful in this game. And the Bucs, this is a fake steamroll because the Bucs are not great. 5.3 yards per play. Okay. We've got the bad Baker pick, right? That's a thing that's going to happen because that's what Baker does. The Bucs are a team that I'm very happy to fade against good teams. The Saints are just not that. I don't think they're a below average team that can beat up on very bad teams. But again, like the Falcons, you can't be this poor passing the ball, especially when it's by design. At least go out there and design some aggressive plays. If you're designed to play this conservative, I don't want to have a ticket with your team. Rams Colts, an absolute tale of two halves and then an overtime where the Rams score all the points in the first half. The Colts score all the points in the second half, I believe. And then the Rams score the only points in overtime with a Puka Nacua walk-off to give the Rams the victory. Both quarterbacks balled out, 0.32 EPA per dropback. One turnover for each team. This top play of the game was a fumble by the Colts. Then we've got a Stafford pick. He is drawing very live to win that most interceptions prop that I gave out to start the season. Very even. 0.3 in favor of the Rams in terms of net yards per play. This game really comes down to third down. 3 of 10 for Indy, 6 of 15 for the Rams. I guess slightly better in favor of LA. Was this 1 of 1? Yeah, 1 of 1 on fourth down. The Colts 1 of 2. This is a conversion on a fourth down, correct? Yeah, unnecessary roughness that the Colts get on their single conversion. They also got a roughing penalty here. Missed field goal here in the fourth quarter by the Rams was the third biggest play of the game. The Rams will continue to confound me. I mean, literally the way they played these two halves of football, they looked like they were en route to a 40-point blowout in the first half and then no-show the second half. And then in overtime, they march right down the field and get the win. They are as Jekyll and Hyde as it gets. They're just like Washington. They are a very strange, wide range of outcomes team. The Colts got punched in the mouth, and then Anthony Richardson came out and made some incredible plays in the second half. But it needs to be a little bit more consistent throughout the game. But he's a rookie, and unlike Bryce Young, who we'll get to in a bit, it's not just bad with Anthony Richardson. There are moments of good. There are moments of great. There was a brutal drop on a back shoulder in this game, I believe in the fourth quarter, to something Granson. So if the Colts continue to be disrespected in the market, they're going to be an interesting team to back. In this game where they weren't catching a lot of points, I believe it closed 1.5 in favor of the Rams. I forgot to do that. I forgot to do the total here. Let's do that. It was 44.5. We go over. Yeah, the Rams closed as -1. Less interesting. But if the Colts are going to catch a decent amount of points, I'm going to look to back them because Richardson can do it. And the Rams, I remain confounded. This is a team that I'll probably try to avoid having any equity on. in the contest. If you like quarterback play, this one was not the one for you. Vikings do win 21-13. They do cover in Carolina. This one closed Minnesota -4. It was as high as 5.5, I believe. Under 46, a very good play, as only 34 points were scored in this game. And this is the story for me. -0.41 EPA per play for Kirk Cousins, -2.8 EPA per play for Bryce Young. Of course, Cousins is dinged for this insane 99-yard pick six. He's also dinged for this other interception that he threw to Grugier Hill. Panthers get a turnover of their own and just pitiful 4 yards per pass when they are keeping Bryce Young standing upright, which didn't happen a lot, as he was sacked 5 times for a loss of 55. I believe he lost a fumble on one of them, which was what this one turnover was for the Panthers. I mean, the Vikings stunk, and they still were up 2.6 yards per play on the Panthers. An insane, well-deserved cover for a team on the road that had 2 horrific interceptions, one of them being a 99-yard interception return. I don't know what to say about this Carolina team. I like the rumors that they're looking for a receiver because they need to do as many favors to Bryce as they can. The guy doesn't have anybody who can separate, and he's really struggling right now to stay upright in a pocket that's not very protective, and he needs all the help he can get. It's not perfect in Indy. It's not perfect in Houston, but I think those situations are a little bit better definitely in terms of play calling, because you've got Steichen in Indy, and a disciple of the Eagles tree, and you've got, Slowick from San Francisco with DeMeco Ryans in Houston. So you're at least getting good systems to protect their good young quarterbacks, and Bryce is just not getting that right now in Carolina. There needs to be a change in personnel and play calling, and there needs to be an upgrade in weapons. He's getting failed right now by the organization. He himself isn't playing well. On top of that, the Vikings, we know the cap. We know it with Kirk Cousins. If Kirk is clean and they're playing against a team that's not great, the Vikings can move the ball. The Vikings can cover. And this was that. Carolina is just that poor. The Vikings against a competitive team that can muddy the picture for Kirk Cousins and can score on their own right, because the Vikings defense still isn't good. I'm not coming out of this game and thinking the Vikings fix something and are all of a sudden going to be good on defense. This is spot at home next week for Minnesota. They play hosts to... The block is on. I don't know if you can hear those sirens. They play host to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think people are going to look at that line and think Minnesota catching points at home is interesting. I have a feeling I'm going to go the other way, because I believe the Chiefs can get stops against this Vikings offense, and I don't know how Minnesota can get one single stop indoors against the Kansas City Chiefs. Cardinals had all the heart in the world, but they could not cover. It is Niners 35, Cardinals 16. Niners get the win and the cover. This goes over 44. Dobbs did have a chance at the end to get the cover. Niners in the softest prevent defense you will ever see, but Zach Ertz drops a touchdown for the cover. Then I believe it was Hollywood Brown who dropped another. Did they deserve a cover? Net yards per play will tell you that the Niners pretty much should have won by exactly 14 points. That's 2.1 in their favor. Clean game from both teams. No turnovers. Red zone, 5 of 5 for the Niners, 2 of 3 for the Cardinals. High leverage. This is what really blew my mind. 5 third downs in the entire game for the Niners. 5 third downs. What? That's when you know you're just humming. 1.04 EPA per dropback. Brock Purdy had 1 incompletion in this game. This Niners team is a wagon. As much as I am concerned about Brock Purdy, this team from top to bottom is just so good. I don't know if Brock Purdy is bad enough to hold them back. I always try to pump the brakes on the Niners. I always try to pump the brakes on Shanahan. I'm very dubious of trying to win without good quarterback play in pro football. But what they've got set up right now in San Francisco is nothing short of remarkable. And a Cardinals team that we've got a lot of green over here. Granted, 2 long drives that were in soft prevent. Maybe this is by design by the Niners, just to pack it in, get to next week healthy. Don't try too hard. But the Cardinals have played well, and Dobbs continues to play well. And the Cardinals have a lot of playmakers on their team. And the Niners crushed them. Absolutely crushed them. This week, Niners-Cowboys. 2 good teams. Niners are 3-point favorites at home. I can't wait to watch that game. And I have an inkling that within the range of outcomes, there are a decent amount where the Niners win by a lot. Because they might just be that good. And maybe I need to fold my reservations about Brock Purdy playing quarterback for this team. The Cardinals, please keep giving us big numbers, books. I beg you. Because they're not going to be playing the Niners every week. Dobbs is still going to have all the heart. These playmakers are still going to remain explosive. Yeah, I guess they might have some killers in the desert. All right, let's get to 2 games where we had emergency quarterback changes due to injury. This is Ravens 28, Browns 3. I don't know what to take from this game. The Ravens obviously steam out to favorites, -1.5 with the news that Deshaun Watson was not going to play with that shoulder injury. This stays under 38.5. Lamar Jackson balls out, but it's 3 turnovers for the Browns. You've got DTR intercepted. There was DTR intercepted. This was a aborted snap, the only turnover of the game for Baltimore, but who cares? It's 5.4 to 2.6. It's a 2.8 advantage. 2.8 advantage. What's there to glean from this game? It was good to see the Ravens play well on offense against a very good defense in Cleveland. But is this Todd Monken experiment working, or is Lamar Jackson just balling out? This feels like a lot of Lamar Jackson balling out to me. You know, got the long play to Flowers here. 2 rushing touchdowns for Lamar. Are the weapons going to get healthy in Baltimore outside of Zay Flowers? It's good. I mean, I guess if you've got Zay and Mark Andrews upright, this Ravens offense can hum. It would be nice to have some secondary options outside as well. Ravens, they might just be another one of these wide range of outcomes team. Jekyll and Hyde. They were awful last week against Indy. And then they come out and blow doors. But how much were the Browns affected by Deshaun not playing? DTR playing so poorly? Interesting spot where I don't think the computers can do this game justice with the context that is necessary. The computers will continue to love Baltimore. They always do. They're just a really confounding team to me because their highs are so high, their lows are so low. And the Browns, maybe Deshaun's not as bad as we thought, or at least the gap between him and DTR is not as narrow as some of us thought, myself included. I was interested in DTR, an older prospect, got a lot of reps in college, played very well last year at UCLA, played very well in the preseason this year, but was completely out of his depth playing pro football on Sunday. We'll see if Deshaun can get back after the bye this week and if the Browns markets are adjusted in any way, because they still have an elite defense, they still have really good weapons, and they still have a very good coach. So still somewhat bullish on the Browns overall. The other backup quarterback game, this one was a little more frisky because the Chargers tried to charger, but they did win 24-17 in Los Angeles. This one goes under 49. Chargers, man. They really did try. It is 4.8 to 3.8, so it is a 1 net yard per play advantage for the Chargers, but I'm concerned with only getting 4.8 yards per play against Los Angeles. I'm concerned about 0.06 EPA per dropback. Only winning by a touchdown in a game with a basic, I guess, third stringer. I guess you could call it Aiden O'Connell a backup, where he turns the ball over 3 times in this game. There's an interception, there's a sack fumble, there's a sack fumble. Khalil Mack has 6 sacks in this game. Aiden O'Connell is sacked 7 times overall. The Raiders, 1 of 11 on third downs. They had twice as many failed third down conversions as the Niners had third downs. Obviously, some positive variance here in going a perfect 3 for 3 on fourth down. But the Chargers should have won this game going away, and it was way too close for comfort. Going forward on that fourth down, obviously think it's the right call, but no gain here. Maybe it's weird when your quarterback just hurt one of his hands, his non-throwing hand. Looked like Herbert's hand was stepped on. They tried to tape it up a little bit. We'll see if he needs stitches or anything this week. I think going forward is obviously the correct decision there. Just need to get a yard to salt the game away. Something stinks in LA. It stunk in LA for multiple years. The Mike Williams injury seems like it will loom larger than expected. Doesn't seem like the rookie receiver is it. We know Josh Palmer's a nice player, but he's not anything impressive. The Chargers are seemingly just a decent team that can have some peaks, but whose valleys are going to bring this team down closer to the mean. Raiders stink. They really do stink. O'Connell, I guess, was a little bit frisky, but negative 0.22 EPA per play, all the turnovers. Jimmy G will probably be back after clearing concussion protocol. The markers indicate that. They are favorites on Monday Night Football against the Packers. Interesting spot with the Packers coming off extra rest, playing Thursday night, and the Raiders coming off of a game in which maybe they pull it out with Jimmy G, but then we know Jimmy G under pressure probably wouldn't have looked much too different. Raiders are a bottom 5 team. I've said too much. Let's move on to the final game of the week. Pats Cowboys, an absolute snoozer in Big D, 38-3 in favor of Dallas. We've got 2 defensive touchdowns for Dallas. This went under 43, by the way. One of them, I mean, this pick 6 is as bad as it gets. If the Patriots benched Mac Jones for perpetuity because of this throw, running to one side of the field, throwing it all the way back to the other, I would be fine with it. Minus 0.5 EPA per play, I'd be fine with it. Tank for one of these top quarterbacks, it's over for Mac Jones. It's absolutely over. 3 turnovers to 0. We highlighted 2 of them already. And this is with the Cowboys continuing to struggle in the red zone, by the way. 1 of 4. If they were more efficient in the red zone, they score 50 in this game. Oh, man alive. 0.9 in favor. Again, none of this matters. None of this matters when you have 2 defensive touchdowns and Mac Jones plays this poorly. This is why the Cowboys, I think 3 is too small against the Niners. Look who the Cowboys have played. And look at the game states they've been in. If the Cardinals could punch the Cowboys in the mouth last week, what are the Niners going to do to them? Seems pretty smashy, y'all. That's it. Week 4. Breaking the boxes. Hope you enjoyed. Again, like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Podcatcher. Those listening on podcasts, please subscribe to your podcatcher of choice. Rate and review. Man, I'm glad this is over. I'm starting to stumble over my words. 40 minutes. Maybe that's it. Maybe I can't get it to 30. This is the best we can do. We'll see you Thursday as we release the card. Need the Giants tonight. Peace out.